Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume this complete beginner's guide in the end of 2022 with Underrail and continue our progress. So we finished a lot of Harlan's work here, and what we need to do at this point is figure out what's going on with the power generator to the north, as well as all of the outposts, if possible. Now, we have to just wait for Harlan, basically, because we talked to the engineer, and so we're just going to kind of let that happen. And in the meantime, I'm going to go to the cave tunnel exit. Am I? Wait a minute, let me see. I have 4 bandages, a health hypo, and desaturated cyanhalant. I have some stuff to sell, so let me jump over, actually, to the shooting range. Before you leave, and this is our first time leaving, make sure you sell everything you want to sell, and you're all ready to go with supplies. So, I'm going to sell him. He won't buy these melee weapons, unfortunately, because he's like Shooty McShoot man, so we'll have to find someone else that'll buy those, but I'm gonna just give him everything that I can that's bullets and stuff and see how much money he has. Now, he only has 51 money left, and you'll see like the green arrows way over here, which means he doesn't even have enough to trade me because I already like kind of took all his cash. So let's just check to see if there's anything that he has that we want, and of course there is. I would like... Okay, so let's look at grenades. Grenades are something that we want. EMP grenades are good for robots. We're not fighting that at the moment. We might, but right now we're mostly fighting like rat hounds and junk that's in the hallways. So we, stalkers, as you saw, you know. So we want either frag grenades or HE grenades for that. So frag grenades are good for dispersing shrapnel, and they're insane if targets that don't have armor. HE grenades are good against targets that are heavily armored. So I think a frag grenade will do fine. Let's just see how much it would take if we wanted to buy, you know, 1 grenade, for example. Okay, we can afford 1. I'm going to buy another. And now, actually, we're still making some progress. So at this point, in terms of negotiation, just take some things off the table. Like, take these shotgun shells away, and these... Oh, these are actually valuable. All right, so he wants those. What doesn't he want? Let's try to get this as close as possible so that we can keep as much stuff as possible. Okay, he really wants that. All right, so we're losing a little bit, but that's okay. And we're just going to say accept. And now I'm going to drag these grenades over to my combat utility slot. You'll see them appear down here. So we have some grenades that we can use. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. And I'm going to now look at my map and see I'm up here at the armory. I can go to... by the way, you can buy food in the cantina if you want to buy some food. You don't need to eat in this game or drink. There's not that kind of survival deal. But what there is would be food that gives you buffs that last for a pretty good amount of time if you're interested. I like to save those and just try to find them in the wild. Food also kind of weighs a lot. So, you know, you have to think about that. Relative to other things, it does anyway. Administration, that's where Vera is. There's a library there, too. You can kind of, I believe you can read on the computer for some information if you want it. There's my bedroom. Let's go to engineering really fast and see if they'll buy any of these weapons off of me. In Southgate, people are really, you know, like compartmentalized in what they buy and sell, and some vendors in other places are too, but there's usually like, not all the time, but sometimes there's like a general merchant, or something like there's only one merchant in the whole town, so they have everything. But in this case, it's all kind of broken apart. Now, do we want anything that you've got? They do have a lockpick, which is actually not bad. No. And he won't buy anything, so I'm going to just skip him for now. And Harold, what you got? Knives, hammer, bolt, repair, recycle, crossbow, combat knife, caltrops, bear chops. I do want some of this stuff later, but not at the moment. I do, let's see, how much is just, like, one lockpick? Oh, they're really cheap. They're like 3 credits. I'm going to buy all those lockpicks. Okay, great. So now we have a bunch of lockpicks that we can pick with. And great. Now, I was thinking, you know, I keep thinking about this, and Key had made a really good point about making sure you don't bork your build. It is possible. This is an old school game, so I want to just throw this out there. There is no respecking that I know of in the game. There might be, but I didn't find it. So you can never respec. You can never change your attributes or your skills or your talents. They are locked in place. So it's kind of like Diablo 2 style. And even that game had some respecs. It's like, you know, you're in. So you can't course correct if you go too far down a path. And it is possible to create a build that is just not winnable. Or the game gets too hard for you if you can't scale up to meet the challenges. And so here's my advice. When you're looking at your character, the main thing you want out of all your skills and your feats and even your abilities is this. You need to be able to win combat. Like, so much of the game provides alternative means for doing quests, okay? But at the end of the day, like, if you can't kill enemies, you will get stuck. There are workarounds for some fights, sure, but not all the time. And so for me, if you want to lean into anything, lean into offense, defense, and wherever you're getting your damage from. Like, stealth is great. You know, traps if you want to go that route or whatever. But don't go hog wild on, like, crafting and social skills and, you know, pickpocketing and stuff like that. That's really cool, but that might not turn out to be you win in combat. Like, you, of course you can, and maybe you can go that way, and if you're a professional at the game, I'm sure there's ways to just, you know, do something different. But for my money, you just need to say to yourself at the end of the day, like, I gotta win battles. And the other stuff is like gravy. It might give you better equipment to help you win battles better. Like, if, you know, if you're social and you can get more money and you can afford to, like, outfit yourself with the best gear, that might give you a combat edge for sure. That's going to help you, absolutely. But you still also need to hit with your gun. Like, you can have, there was a point later in the game, I'll just tell you, like, I got, like, an incredibly powerful gun, and I just wanted to experiment with it. I had no points in guns. Doesn't matter. You have, like, the best gun in the game, you can't hit with it, right? So you still need to be able to hit, to be able to fight, to be able to take damage, solve the problems that combat is facing. So at least aim yourself in that direction. If you're going to err on the side of anything, err on the side of being able to win combat is my kind of overall advice to you on that. I am interested in what you guys think about that. That might not be the best advice, but that's just what makes sense to me. And with this character, with this build, I am following what I did in my playthrough, and while it wasn't optimal, it did work for all of the content pretty much in the game. Okay, so I'm going to go to agronomy, and I want to talk to my buddy Quentin, and I want to see what he's got. So Quentin is my dude for boosters and inhalants, but what I really want is I want to buy this, and I want to buy this, and this is good for now. So how much is this going to cost me? Okay, this is good. It'll only cost me 110. So we need to be able to process plants or fungus, okay? because this will tell us how to extract chemicals from mushrooms and fungus that we find out in the caves or wherever. All right? So you need to know this so you can get the ingredients from them to help you make your own potions, basically. Like if you want to make health hypos, you want to make psi boosters, you want to make inhalants, you need this to start to get you there, and then you also need the blueprint for the actual item that you want to craft. Right now he's selling us these two. They're expensive, but this will go a long way. For my money, you want to be able to craft psi boosters and inhalants early because they're just so expensive to try to buy them outright. But you might have to do that in an emergency. So I'm going to right-click on these blueprints, and you learn them, and you know them forever. And then we're just going to go open up the crafting menu, okay? And you'll see that I have two things. I could process a plant or fungus, and then in the lower left, it'll show you what you need to put into these boxes to make this work. So you need empty ampules, and then any plant or fungus you can put in here and like extract it into some kind of chemical or fluid that you can use. For psi booster, you have to have unsaturated psionic catalyst ×3 and a syringe, right? So you'll see that Quentin should sell some of the spare bits. So if you select over here crafting, this will show you everything that he wants to sell you that's just crafting related. He has acid, magnesium powder, but he does not have what we need to buy from medicine, which will be syringes, empty vials. He has vials, actually, but he doesn't look like he has ampules. So we're going to go need to buy ampules elsewhere. But those were good blueprints to get. And that's kind of what I want to use my money on right now, is learning how to craft these things. And again, I know this, I'm not trying to spoil, but I'm going to say, like, I don't take any of these crafting skills all the way to the end, except for, I think, electronics, so that I could make some really good psi headbands later in the game. And by the way, you can buy the recipe for psi headband right here from Ezra, but you take them just high enough so that you can make the kinds of consumables that you need, and then eventually you'll hit your stride in this game where, like, you have money and you can just splash around and buy these potions. That and the fact that you will find them in the wild when you're scavenging, so that you will just create like a big surplus supply of some of the items. I'm not saying you'll have like infinite. You still need to use them, but if you're careful with them, by the time you get to the end, it's not a concern. But right now it sure is. So I'm going to go down or up to medical, and I'm going to see what Pascal is going to sell us. So we're going to talk to Pascal and be like, hey, Pascal, what's he got? All right, so he has inhalant, booster, and health hypo. So you'll see right here, it says in orange if you already know the blueprint, so don't buy anything you already know. So we want to buy inhalant and we want to buy hypo, and that's going to cost us a lot, 160, right? And it'll leave us with 519. But he also sells some good stuff, so here's what we're going to do. You'll notice that syringes cost like nothing, okay? And ampules cost almost nothing. So you could just buy a bunch of these and just feel really good about it. I am also going to buy some bandages. 5 of them. Okay. So I have some bandages now for restoring our health. As far as I understand it, maybe there's a recipe for bandage. I really don't remember right now, but I think you kind of have to buy it. Like, maybe you can craft it, but I don't remember doing that. I remember just always having to buy them. All right, I'm going to use inhalant. I'm going to use health hypo. Now, if you're light on cash, you don't have to buy some of these right now, but I just want to have them all ready so that we can start to be ready to see what we need. So for inhalant, for example, the reason it's expensive, you need unsaturated psionic catalyst. These are like your gold that you have to have for either psi boosters or psi inhalants. And you need these oxygen tanks and these sponge filters, and the oxygen tanks are actually expensive. Now for health hypo, you need blood, insectoid saliva, syringes, and anticoagulant. All right, so let me see if he sells anticoagulant. He does. Are these expensive? Actually, they kind of are. So I'm gonna split this, and I'm gonna buy like 4. Okay. No. Yeah. Just give me 2 actually. There you go. And then he does sell oxygen tanks. I'm gonna buy 1. Oh, let me split this. I'll show you how expensive these are. Split. Kick this back. And 1 oxygen tank is like 55, okay? It's not, again, it's not horrible, but when you start adding everything together, you know, it becomes expensive. I'm going to buy 5 sponge filters. All right, so now we have the baseline of some of the ingredients, okay, that we might need. He also sells antidotes, adrenaline shots, things like that. And we'll trade, and that's enough. I'm not going to buy anything else right now. I'm just getting this stuff together. And what will he buy from me? Just my medicine. Okay. And let me actually go check agronomy really fast. Let me see if Quentin will buy, not Quentin. Oh, no, it is Quentin, right. Will you buy any of these weapons from me? Nah, he won't. All right. What about Brett? What about Big Brett? Will you buy some stuff? Nah, he ain't down. All right. So in this case, we might be in a position where it's not as easy to sell some of these melee weapons just yet. So I'm going to go to the cave tunnel in the docks. So this will be our first time leaving the town. We've never done this. We're about to do this to splash around and have some fun here. So when you come down around this corner, you'll see there's a sentry bot, there's cameras everywhere, and there's Malcolm behind the desk here. And if you talk to Malcolm and he says, "How can I help?" and you could say, "I need to go into the caves," and he says, "You didn't get your access card, right? Should be around here somewhere," and he finds it, and he tells you this is the procedure. When you want to leave, you have to talk to him and he'll open the gate. And then when you want to come in, you have to use this intercom and present your card. And he bioscans, so, you know, he doesn't want you to get a disease, but whatever. It's never usually a problem. Open the gate. It's never been a problem for me anyway. And he says, if you find yourself surrounded, use flares to scare the rat hounds away. They'll be back, though, so try not to stick around. And this is a great tip. So, we don't have any fire psionic abilities yet, but rat hounds fear fire. So, like, if you can set them on fire or use a flare to create a fire, they will run away from it. And you can, like, exploit that. They'll be in a state of fear, and you can, like, shoot them and stuff while they're afraid. It's a very good thing about some early metathermics abilities that you have. So, thanks. I'll keep that in mind. You're good to go. And he opens the outer gate. And this, you can't go in here. It's a red hand. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to, actually, wait, I lied. I was going to drop some stuff on the ground, but there is a guy out here, and we'll see him in a moment. Let's walk down here. And for good measure, I could try to milk it, but I think I need to just, I'm going to push F5 to save the game, and I need to use an inhalant right now because I have no reserves. I'm not going to use a bandage to heal myself at the moment. All right, so I'm in the caves. Push 9. Now push M for the map. Southgate Station, that's not the right map. Let's go to Lower Underrail, and we can see, okay, here's Southgate Station, here's Lower Underrail, here's Lower Underrail, and we were here. What about Lower Caves? Here we are. Okay, so sometimes you have to flick around the different levels, lower passages. This is where we found Harland, and we're helping him out, right? And then Lower Caves is where we are right now. And then Lower Underrail is kind of where we were inside of Southgate Station where Bisson was, and we went out there. Then Southgate Station goes up, up, up. And then we're in Lower Caves for the moment, all right? And you can see over here there's a mushroom cove that's marked on our map. And this is where we are here at Crossroad Caves, all right? So you always want to, like, keep in mind where you're at. And you can see Southgate Station in the middle of this little tower, and it has on the front of it the flag of Southgate Station. Okay, So let's look around on walking stealth. First thing you want to do is go to this building right here. And there's our dude, old Jonas. And you could talk to him. And he's like this awesome old timer who's been here for ages, since before the time of Hadrian Tanner, I believe. And he knows a thing or two about the cave. So you can ask him about scavenging because he's like super resourceful. And you could get advice from him. And you could be like, I hear you know things. And what can you tell me about the outposts? And he'll give you a bunch of advice about how to do this quest and where things are. And he says he wants you to try to find his watch. And I say, I'll have your watch back in no time. And never mind, I want to talk to you about something else. What are you doing here? And then you can finally trade with him. So he won't buy anything from us, unfortunately. But he does sell a blueprint for a bear trap. He sells lockpicks. He sells flares. And he also sells... Dun, 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 utility belt. Now, utility belt, I don't think we can afford this right now. Let me see how expensive this would be. Oh, no, yeah, we can. All right. If we buy this utility belt, it'll give us 2 extra utility slots, which means that right now we have 3, and we would open this up to having 5. Now, it's not vital at the moment because we don't have different kinds of grenades and things like that, but it is useful for us later when we get more. So just remember that he buys that, and he sells that. He will only buy batteries and traps. So given that knowledge that he only buys batteries and traps, by the way, you can go into this locker, and there's some garbage here that you can take. Remember, as long as that red hand is not up, just go for it, right? And I'm going to use this locker, and I'm going to put inside the locker this steel dagger, this sledgehammer, and this combat knife, as well as this rat hound leather armor, okay? The reason I'm doing that is that stuff is heavy. I don't want to carry it around, okay? I don't need it. I'm going to sort my stuff, and now I can come back here. Remember, no one will ever take your stuff. It will never despawn. So what you can do is just push a map here, and you'll see there's a merchant, right? It tells you that, but that's not enough information, okay? So I'm going to shift-click here, and we're going to say Old Jonas. And we're going to say buys batteries and traps, okay? And then we're also going to say sells utility belt, right? 185 or so, whatever the price was. It was around that. Then I'm going to also say storage locker, loot inside. And this is just a reminder for myself, okay? And then now when you come back here, you can see it says Old Jonas and it says Storage Locker. So I know that I put stuff here. I know where it is, all right? Trust me. I've said this a million times, but it might seem tedious. I didn't do this when I first started playing Underrail, as you can see from my Let's Play. And it was punishing. Like, I would forget things. So I'm trying to do best practices and label things a little bit more clearly for people, so that you take some time now and it will save you time later, okay? All right, I'm going to look at my log, and it says, find Old Jonas's watch in the caves north of Southgate Station, so we want to go to the north. And it also says, reactivate the power generator and retake the outposts in the cave tunnels to the north. Now, let's talk about this, because we haven't yet. This game is, like, isometric, and it's skewed, so the upper right or the northeast is north, okay? The kind of like southeast is east, the southwest is south, and the northwest is west, all right? So for directions. So just so you know, so this way is north, and we need to go north for everything. So don't necessarily go over here or down here right now. Don't go off the beaten track too much in Underrail, because you're going to get lost and things are going to be hard. Not that you can't find your way back, but just, I don't know. I didn't have a good experience when I would do that. So, just heed my warning. All right, I'm going to stealth up, and we're going in. I'm going to save it, and let's go. As you approach the passage, you can hear faint squeaking sounds coming from up ahead, and a pair of red, beady eyes blinking in and out of the darkness. Dun, dun, dun. Rat hounds ahead. All right, we're going in. All right. So, what do we see? What do we see? All right. So, obviously, the game uses a line of vision, a field of vision, line of sight kind of thing, and I can see this way and this way in the tunnel. Now, just if you're curious, I am underground. There is no sunlight. I'm way underground, by the way. We are deep underground. The explanation lore-wise is that the caves are lit primarily... Oh, there's a rat hound right there. Oops. Let me end combat. The caves are lit by iridescent mushrooms that hang from the ceiling. So there is, like, light provided. Now, when you enter combat like I just did, you actually have to wait for a moment before you can do it again. Okay? So there's rat hounds over here. So do I want to fight rat hounds is a question. Right? I could go a different way and not fight them, but let's fight them. I'm going to get the drop on it, and we're going to go into it. I'm going to not do anything except cryokinesis this guy, and I'm going to end my turn. And this guy can't make it because he's about to die, and we slowed him down. Now I'm going to push tab. This is something you really want to pay attention to in this game. You see how the rock wall of the cave, given the isometric nature of it and the pseudo 3D presentation, the walls are projecting upward and blocking my view. So you need to push tab, and it will outline anything, enemies, hostiles in red, you in yellow, okay? And so this will tell you where things are, so you can get a clear sense. Remember, it says the enemy's name, and it has their health bar behind the name. So this first rat hound that's closest to us is about to die. So what we want to do is use telekinetic punch on this boy right here. And now I'm going to be really conservative, and I'm going to run all the way over here. I'm not going to use a psi booster, and I actually don't have a psi booster because I'm being a cheapskate. I should probably buy some, to be perfectly honest with you, but right now I'm being very cheap, and I'm going to run over here. Now, this rat hound in the front did get one hit on us, okay? So that happened. Now we're going to kill this guy, all right? And the question is, do I want to use 18 psi or 18 psi? They both do the same, but I'm going to use neural overload because it takes less action points. Now, this rat hound over here, I'm going to run up this way, and we're going to pray that... Oh, no, there's another rat hound. Okay, that's bad. All right, so we're going to blast this guy, and I'm going to run over here. I am going to get hit a bunch by this guy, but I don't want that guy to do anything to me. Okay? All right, so we got hit, and... what do I want to do? I don't want to use a grenade. There's no reason. I'm going to walk over here and push spacebar, and now we should just be able to use cryokinesis and shoot this guy. So this is like the poor man's way of killing these things, all right? But what it reveals to me right off the bat is that I was hoping to be able to gather some mushrooms and maybe craft my own psi booster, but there aren't any that are here immediately. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to end combat, and I'm going to stealth up. We know there's a rat hound above us, right? And we did it. This is another thing I'm trying to do. We found one oddity. This is a fancy rat hound ear, and it's going to give us 1 experience. So we picked that up, and we're 1 away from leveling up. And this is also something that I want to do, is level up, because I want to buy some new psionic abilities. So I'm just going to wait for my psi to fill up. I'm not healing myself, which is potentially a mistake, but look at this. The bandage will heal 140 health, and I only have 72 health. So I can go much lower. I'm going to push F5 to save the game. Early on, I'm a super cheapskate with my items, and I'm using my health, as a kind of reservoir to save money, all right? And here's a rat hound right here. Okay, so again, I'm going to I'm going to push enter to start the fight, and I'm going to blast this guy twice. He almost died, and we're going to push spacebar. Now, I could have used telekinetic punch, okay, to kill this guy, to stun him, okay? But because telekinetic punch is so expensive, I'm not using it if there's only one, because I can kill them in 3 blasts with cryokinesis. I'm doing that only, okay, because I'm trying to save psionics because it's so expensive right now. All right, so let's just go down here and restore. I'm going to go into stealth. I'm going to push F5 to save the game. I saw a rat hound up here behind this gate, but I'm just walking around and exploring these caves. And here's an outpost right here, okay? So let me make sure there's nobody that's going to sneak up from me down here. I'm just stealthing around, making sure there's no rat hounds, okay? There's a passage to the east over here, and let's open up this door, and let's walk in here, and bam, I'm going to close the door so no rat hounds can get in. If there's no rat hounds in here now, we're good to go. And we can try to flip on the power switch, but nothing's going to happen because the generator is not powered. I'm going to go in this shelf. Boom. This is the other reason I didn't buy a psi booster. I am like Scrooge McDuck penny pinching, SGS credit pinching to not spend money. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to try to find as many as I can in the field to save my money for other things, if possible, right? I'm going to buy here, and oh my gosh. When you see this early on as a psionicist, this is like the holy grail. If you get this inhalant, we got 2 bandages too. This is so good. I'm not going to take this bottle, okay? Oh, fine, I'll take 1 bottle, all right? The reason I'm taking it is just so it says shelves empty. Junk pile, we got to search that when we get out. Let's check the locker. And, oh, buddy, we did it. Border guard orders, boom. By the way, I'm not going to do this for this tutorial for the sake of time, but the gray text on these oddities is fantastic. These are really cool pieces of lore that you can get. I read them all in my Let's Play, but I'm not going to read them here. I'm going to take all, and boom, we just leveled up. Jackpot. And I'm going to go into this next locker, and we're going to take a health hypo. So now we are really, really getting some of the consumables we needed back. I'm going to click sort. All right, so we just leveled up. Leveling up is beautiful, and I'm going to push F5. I'm going to save it before I level up because I want to talk to you about this process. By the way, take anything that's not nailed down in this game or that's not, you know, explicitly guarded by somebody and read. Junk pile, nothing in there. Okay, sometimes you find oddities. Remember, if you're playing on oddities, you search everything to try to find that experience. I'm going to go in, I'm going to lock the door. And to level up, you click the plus sign on your character, boom. And now we're level 2. We didn't get an ability point to raise up, so we don't have to worry about that, but we do get skill points. You get 40 per level. Okay, now it's time to talk about skills. Again, remember, if you picked something that you don't like, at this point in the game, you're early enough to just chalk it up and say, you know what, that was a mistake. I'm going to invest in something else and switch paths, okay? You can do that. I would not stress about it too much. You could start over if you really wanted to, but I don't want you to get so far and realize you made a mistake and then feel like you don't want to start over because it's just too much time wasted. So think very carefully and start to narrow it down. Here's what I do. All right, check this out. I'm using a ton of metathermics, for example, right? So I'm going to put, but I can only put 5 points in there. Okay? So at level 1, you're capped at 15. And at level 2, you're capped at 20. So just top off the skills that you care the most about, okay? So for me, it's all of my psionics. I'm actually going to put 5 points in temporal manipulation. I'm going to raise this up a little bit. I'm not overly concerned about it at the moment. But here's what I am concerned about, okay? Throwing, stealth, lockpick, and let's go down here, biology, chemistry, okay? I'm going to crank up biology. If I see something with chemistry where I need a level for crafting something, I will maybe put points in that. But unless I want to be crafting too many grenades, I think I'm okay for now. So I just kind of picked like my core abilities. Damage, all right, with psionics, with throwing grenades, and then stealth is super important for being sneaky, getting around, and being able to strategically begin combat when I want it. Lockpicking for finding hidden treasures, oddities, making money, all right? And then biology for making my items early in the game. And we do get one feat, and it's time. Do we get any feats that are absolutely necessary for us? Let's see what we've got, all right? Okay. Tranquility. Reduce the action point cost of all psi abilities by 5 while at full health. This is amazing. Sure Step lets you navigate caltraps and puddles of acid. This is actually pretty good. Strafe, don't need that. Snooping, cool if you want to find hidden stuff. This increases your crit chance by 15%, but increases your cost. For me, I actually prefer to have cheaper abilities and less... Like, I'm not huge on this, but this can be a big thing if you enjoy it. Corporal Protection says all telekinetic damage is increased by 5% for each point of strength above 5. So we only have 1, and Conditioning reduces all damage. So what I'm going to take is going to be Tranquility right now. And I'm going to accept. And because of that, I leveled up. You don't heal when you level up, by the way. I'm going to bandage myself. And so what this means is now that I'm at full health, if I tooltip over an ability, you'll see that, like, Cryokinesis normally takes 25 action points, but now it only takes 20. This is a permanent reduction. Well, not permanent. It's contingent upon full health, but it reflects on the tooltip, and it's huge because this would allow me to cryokinesis, and also telekinetic punch on the same turn if I'm at full health, because you get 50 action points right now with this character. You can push C to look at your action points. I got 50, right? So being able to do this 2-2-1 is insane. We can burn one target down like incredibly effectively and kite it. This is huge for us. We want this, right? It also makes, neural overload. Like, we can do 3 of these in a round if we want, provided we have the psionic points. So I really, really like that ability for making us be able to do more in a turn. And we're at the first outpost. Now it says retake the outposts, and you need to activate at least 3 of them. But we can't even activate them until we find the generator, okay? So what you want to just note here is there is an outpost on this portion of the map. You can actually see it on the picture, but I'm just going to say outpost here so that I remember, okay? And boom, we're level 2. We found an outpost. We are getting some more consumable items to make our character stronger, and we're cooking with gas. We could go back into the town now, and we're almost at the point where we can consider buying... I think you actually need 25 for the next ability, but once we level up again, we'll be able to get some new psionic abilities. Note that we now need 6 experience to hit level 3. All right, so everyone, I hope you're finding this series to be fun and informative. Please post any questions in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.